Welcome to the first annual Gaily Show Awards. Here is your host, J.P. Derbogosian.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever Gaily Show Awards, or the Gailies. As the world continues to come to an end, we gather here in the time-honored gay tradition of the awards show. Well, we gather virtually, right? First on the radio waves, and then everywhere you get your podcasts and on our YouTube channel. We are here to celebrate this past year's queer creativity, queer craftspersonship, and sheer queer audacity in TV, film, books, and poetry. Today, we celebrate queer poetry and some other surprise categories. Like all of the very best award shows, the Gailies are about suspense, so we don't tell you what the categories are going to be ahead of time. Instead, a guest judge in each industry, selected by yours truly, evaluates the year that was and creates the categories to celebrate our queer creators. Our guest judge today is Maya Willaims. Maya Willaims is a religious, Black, multiracial, non-binary poet who is currently a Ashley Bryan Fellow and was selected as the 7th Poet Laureate of Portland, Maine for a July 2021 to July 2024 term. Maya's poetry collections have been a finalist of a New England Book Award, a finalist of a Maine Literary Award, and a winner of Garden Party Collective's Chapbook Contest, respectively. Maya's new collection just came out. It's called What's So Wrong with a Pity Party Anyway? Please welcome Maya Willaims.
Thank you so much for having me. Oh my gosh, I always love conversing with you all the time. Thank you so much.
And in this very special Gaily Show Awards. And so I will, without further ado, let's let our audience know what the first category was, which is a doozy of a category. It is, let me get this right here, Best, my heart, full-length poetry collection that came out this year. And the honors, the Gaily goes to
Dianelli Antigua's Good Monster. Oh my goodness. She is incredible. She's so she was the first queer Black poet laureate selected in Portsmouth, New Hampshire during her term. And this book came out this year, and I love it so much. It talks so beautifully about being a sad bitch. She identifies as a sad bitch. And, she has a bunch of sonnets called Sad Girl Sonnets. She talks so beautifully about religious-related trauma and healing from psych wards and crappy relationships that don't prioritize you. And look at this cover. Look at this gorgeous cover.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, my God. I love Dianelli. She's fantastic. Yes.
And surviving religious trauma feels particularly relevant to read about as we're about to enter the, I don't even like saying it anymore, the future, I guess,
sure.
our short-term future.
Yeah.
However, continuing on with the Gaily Show Awards, our next category is Best You Did That, full-length poetry collection that came out this year. And the Gaily goes to
Brittany Rogers for Good Dress. Oh my God.
Another great cover.
Yes, a very beautiful color. I love yellow on book covers when they're done super well. I listen to anything Donica Kelly and Khadijah Queen says, anything Angel Nafis says about this book. So not only because of that bias, but she also uses this beautiful sonnet crown to talk about audacity and Black femininity and Black queerness. One of my favorite poems is this found poem she creates that's based off of overdue library books that she just didn't return because they were so important to her. And the books were on erotica, they were on how to come out to your parents, and they were on Blackness and sex. It's Good Dress. Beautiful about audacity and beautiful about ekphrases when it comes to Black women in rap. It's incredible.
Wait, so what's a found poem?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. A found poem is where you find any form of documentation and you adapt it for your own poetic purposes. So yeah, she essentially, so Brittany essentially used an old notice that let her know, like, hey, if you don't return these library books, you're going to get a fee because they're going to be considered lost. Here are the list of books that we need back. And they're all books that are centered on Blackness and queerness and the erotic.
Wow. And I think you also mentioned a sonnet crown. What is a sonnet? I've heard of sonnets. What is a sonnet crown? It's an extra fancy, extra royal.
Exactly, yeah. So it's basically just a longer sonnet that has layers of repetitive first lines and last lines.
And let's see if I can conjure up my poetry knowledge. A sonnet is 14 lines.
Usually, like, basically, it's anywhere between 10 to 14 lines, in some form of meter. As long as the volta's in there, you're good.
Volta.
The turning point, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, and in a past life, I am technically a classically trained Shakespearean actor.
That's what's up.
Right? Yes, studied in Oxford, England with the British American Drama Academy. So that is literally my only exposure to sonnets, unfortunately, is Shakespeare's sonnets. And he had a lot of them. So yeah, there was a lot of analysis and reading of them, but I'm sad that I didn't know what a sonnet crown was.
That's okay.
And also
I only learned that term in the past 2 years. Like, I want to continue to learn so much about poetry that I still don't know yet. So,
well, congratulations to Brittany Rogers and Good Dress and Diane Lee Antigua's Good Monster for winning Dianelli Antigua's Good Monster for winning our first ever Gailies at the Gaily Show Awards in poetry. Now, I see here that you have some other categories that you would like to share with us. We do have another special poetry award, but we're going to save that one till the end. That's an extra special one. But this category is, which I also love because you are very involved in theatrical productions and theater creation. So this is Best Play I Saw at My Local Theater This Year, which goes to
Hansel Jung's Wolf Play. It is this incredible play that is able to place a framework on adoption, particularly when it comes to something that actually happened, where white parents who adopted Korean children or other children of the Asian diaspora would essentially go to Facebook and go and sell their children. And this play is about a same-sex couple. One parent is a cisgender woman, another parent is a non-binary wrestler. And they adopt the child that used to belong to a white family. And the child is played by a Korean American and is also who is also the puppeteer of the child. So the child is a puppet throughout the majority of the play, and it is so moving. I saw it through the Portland Theater Festival this summer. It's the best year that the Portland Theater Festival has ever had when it's come to their lineup of plays, but Wolf Play was my absolute favorite.
There's so much to unpack here.
I know.
So let me rewind a little bit. When you say selling children,
like basically, or like so these white families are like, oh, I want to adopt an Asian baby, and then they're like, oh, I can't handle parenting this Asian baby, so how about I give this Asian baby away illegally on Facebook?
No.
Yeah.
No. That's real?
That's real.
Okay. I'm about to create a whole category right now of for those people that are doing that, but we're going to save that for when the Gaily Show expands into its new version, and we're going to get into that one. Talk me through. So there's puppetry.
Yes.
So the child or children are played by puppets.
Just the one child is a puppet, and the puppeteer is explicitly casted as Korean American because the child is Korean.
Wow. And there's, I guess, so many layers to the idea of puppet in there.
Yeah, and it's called Wolf Play because this child has an adoration for wolves. So like, there's a lot of like wolf metaphors that the child says throughout the play, and yeah.
So hopefully this theater production will either be touring, or local companies can reach out to the, I'm assuming, playwright for the rights.
Yeah, reach out to Hansel Young, please. Oh my God, she is incredible in her work. Do it.
That's well, congratulations to Hansel Wolf Play, first ever Gaily Show Award in theater. All right, so now we covered literature with Patrick Nathan a couple weeks ago, and there was a nonfiction book that was included there, but Maya has a couple nonfiction books of their own to share with us. So the first category is, great name, Yes, Tell It nonfiction book is awarded to, goes to
Allison Raskin for I Think Conversations About Modern Marriage. And granted, yes, I'm a little biased because Allison Raskin blurbed my first poetry collection, Judas and Suicide. Yes, I am biased because I enjoy her work through mental health advocacy, through her series Emotional Support Lady, and her podcasts with her collaborator Gabe Dunn through their podcast Just Between Us. But what I love about this book in particular is how there's no explicit desire for her to be like, you should get married, or like, you should not get married. Like, she goes into different couples that she interviews. She interviews queer couples, she interviews cishet couples, she interviews people in open marriages, she interviews monogamous marriages. She interviews people who have been divorced and how divorce has benefited them. Like, there's so much that is just so well done, and she even goes into her own marriage and her broken engagement in such a transparent and vulnerable way that I wish more people would talk about when it comes to relationships.
So is it like a collection of interviews, or, I mean, how does the book read?
So the book reads through different sections of like, hey, let's talk about the history of marriage, let's talk about finances in marriage, let's talk about the history of divorce, and interspersed through those subject matters, she draws from interviews that she's had with couples.
Wow. And marriage is such a heavy topic right now. Obviously, queer marriage, since it's clearly on the line. Queer
marriage, disabled marriage, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking queer marriage in the sense that it will be made illegal again by
right.
What's coming. So that is clearly a book that, thank you for highlighting that and awarding a Gaily to it. So hopefully we can encourage reading of that, because that is a very timely topic. The next nonfiction book award is the Best You Did That nonfiction book, and it is awarded to Morgan Parker for her nonfiction collection, You Get What You Pay For. It is an incredible collection about mental health when it comes to Black folks. It's really good when talking about, like, wow, I spent my entire childhood being told to formulate this identity, and now I'm just figuring out who I am and who it is I want to be in a world that wants me dead, in a world that tells me, well, you get what you pay for. Tell me more about that title. What is the paying for?
Oh my God, paying for so much. Oh my God.
Or maybe the for. What is the for in there? I imagine there's lots of different things.
Yeah, paying for therapy. She talks about her bad experience of having a white therapist who couldn't connect to her lived experience. She talks about alienation when it comes to depression. She talks about entertainment media and the complexities of representation. Oh my God, you get what you pay for.
That therapist-patient relationship is so, you know, I've been the amount of research that I do now before even approaching the very first, session is very, it's intense, and you have to make sure. I think a lot of folks don't know that they think that, I just have to pick somebody and then I go in there and then I'm, with them and that's it. And no. Right. So I'm very glad that Morgan is putting out there, this explanation of you get what you pay for. And sometimes you need to break up with your therapist. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's an incredible poet. I'm so glad she came out with this essay, with these book of essays. And she also has a lovely young adult book called Who Put This Song On? I love her work.
Well, congratulations to Morgan Parker for You Did That, nonfiction book of the year. So, we've got some time for some other categories that Maya has shared with us. So let's do a few of these. So we did film with Charles Jensen last week, and I definitely check all of this out, all those awards, because there was a really fabulous categories. Interestingly, though, I see a category here that is going to be maybe in contrast with what Charles did, which is what I love, the Gaily Show Awards drama. And we're queer, so here we go. We can do this. It's the last episode of the Gaily Show Awards. So Maya has a category, Best Film I Saw This Year, that came out this year, which is
Challengers. Challengers. I remember seeing the trailer and I'm just in love with Zendaya's work, and I love how transparent she is as far as her trajectory in the entertainment industry as a Black person, and I have such mixed feelings about the show Euphoria, but everything about her storyline I love in Euphoria so much. But yeah, Challengers, I saw the trailer, and at first I'm thinking like, oh, it's going to and they use the song like Man Eater in the background, and then I see the movie and I'm like, cool, it's much gayer than I thought it would be. Oh my gosh. It's so dramatic, and there's so much that could have been prevented through more clearer communication, as always. But I love how when it comes to a love triangle story, all ends of the triangle are met. It's not just, oh, let's try and get Zendaya. It's like all ends of the triangles, of the love triangle is met. And it's so well done. It's such a stressful movie to watch, and it's also fantastic to watch.
Well, I have to respect the decisions of the judges, so congratulations to Challengers. As we recall from our film episode, Charles Jensen also awarded Challengers with Best Bob in a movie, which was Zendaya's Bob, which was working pretty hard in that film.
Such a good Bob. We love a good Bob, yes.
And we also have a category, Best TV Show, that, as you write, made me scream the loudest this year. So when I saw that category, I was like, we need to hear what that was. And the award goes to
Arcane. The animation is so overwhelmingly good. And I don't play League of Legends. My fiance plays League of Legends, so it's really nice to hear him talk about how it intersects with the game, and he's like, here's an Easter egg. But what made me scream so much was like, oh my gosh, I love how gay season 2 of Arcane is. Thank you to my apartment mates for their patience with me every time I shouted bitch as I'm watching it. Oh my goodness. And season 1, there's a queer story that is so hinted at, and it's inched towards, and I'm like, ooh, screw y'all for that. And then in second season, it paid off. Thank you. Yes, creators, the payoff. We love a good payoff. Yes.
Well, congratulations to Arcane. I absolutely loved that category title. Made me scream the loudest, because that's absolutely a thing.
Yes.
And that's absolutely a marker of quality if it can get a judge to literally scream out loud. Yes. So congratulations to Arcane. And I see here a category, our poetry category, our final poetry category, which is Best Chapbook Poetry Collection that came out this year, and the award goes to...
Because we're so dramatic. We're so dramatic here. My book. What's so wrong with the pity party anyway? Yes, I cheated. Call me out on cheating. Do it. Yeah, I worked really hard on this chapbook. It's my third poetry collection. It's my very first chapbook, so it's just like a smaller collection than a full-length collection, essentially. And it talks a lot about grief and finding joy in the midst of grief. I am very pro pity party. And the title poem talks a lot about the snacks I would want at a pity party, the music I'd want played, wanting 15 therapists properly compensated, so we can all sit with grief together. Yeah, I'm very proud of this little chapbook, and I'm on tour through March, I believe, through February or March. I have to go back to my Instagram to check, but yes, I'm very proud of this book. If you're into poetry about grief and trying to find joy in the midst of grief and lineage of grief, and supporting loved ones through their grief while holding space for your own grief, this book is for you.
Now, so folks know how I do this is I recruit judges from their industries, and I tell them, you have complete liberty to create the categories however you want to create them. You, Maya, were the only one that was audacious. And I'm sure all the other judges right now are like, wait, what? So, for the judges that will be selected for next year, just know, literally any category is your domain.
Thank you.
I do want to talk a little bit more about your award winning.
It won 2 awards: the Garden Party Collective Chapbook Award and the Gailies. The second one's a little more controversial, but I don't care.
It was a controversial award. It was a controversial, which makes it all the better. The best awards are the controversial ones. Tell me about the pity party as an area of exploration for you. Like, how did you land on that?
I landed on that because it originally started out as a commission piece for an organization called Bendable Maine, where they do a lot of they sort of do like a skill share sort of thing for Mainers, essentially. They're not in existence anymore. I don't believe, but at the time they were holding a celebration and they wanted me to write a poem. They commissioned me to write a poem. And I just kept thinking about how upset I was with people saying things like, oh, come on, look on the bright side. No need to throw a pity party. No one has time for your pity party. And I'm like, or folks, or even like folks internalizing that, going like, I don't want your pity. And I'm over here like, I am pro pity. I am pro pity party. And this is what I want at a pity party. And it's been so sweet hearing the reactions of people since reading it too, because they're like, I want to come, or I would facilitate writing workshops where I would ask people like, what would be at your pity party, and they would list like they would list like fuzzy puppies to pet, or like make sure fruit roll-ups are available for people and stuff like that. Like, everyone's pity party is so different for what they need, and it's just so sweet.
From where you started to when you completed the chapbook, did your ideas of what pity is shift at all?
Ooh, that's a good question. Like, the chapbook started out as a 90-page thesis during my time at Randolph College. Brittany Rogers and I were in the same cohorts. Shout out. And then it continued to shrink and shrink and shrink. And then I was submitting it as a chapbook, and Garden Party Collective said, congratulations, you were one of 4 winners for this chapbook contest. And wow. I was like, fantastic. But as far as like the shifting definition of pity, yeah, like just leaning towards like, it's not as negative of a connotation as we make it out to be. And I can understand where the negative connotation comes from, especially when it comes to like patronizing one's grief or one's journey. And at the same time, like, I just love using the word pity as like a reclamation point.
I love that. And how, because it catches you off guard. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So what were maybe sneak peeks, some things that would be at your pity party?
Yes. 15 properly compensated therapists, as stated earlier. Oreos, because they're one of the few brands that are just all inclusive. Beanbag chairs, an in-person option and a Zoom option. A room for anyone who wants like a quiet space so that they're not over-sensed by any screaming, and yet there's still a space for folks who need the screaming, stuff like that. And you're gonna have to read the book to know more about this pity party. Yes,
I just recently rediscovered my love for Oreos, and let me tell you, the packages are going quickly. I mean, maybe it's because I've been rediscovering them after the catastrophe, and I'm just eating my feelings at this point. But if I were to have a pity party, Oreos would also be at mine, is where I'm going with that. You are on tour. Tell us where you are going to be on tour. The areas that you can remember. Yes, folks need to go to your Instagram page to see all of the locations, but tell us some right now.
I'll be in Manchester, New Hampshire. I'll be here in my city of Portland, Maine at Back Cove Books. And I will be in Holyoke, Massachusetts at the Odyssey Bookshop. And I love the Odyssey Bookshop. They're so wonderful, and I'm so excited to finally get to work with them and have my conversation partner be Charlene Choi, who used to work for the Care Center, which is an incredible space for young folks. And yeah.
Well, congratulations on the new chapbook. Congratulations on your Gaily Award.
Thank you.
How do folks follow you on Instagram?
Folks can follow me at mdub16. That is EMMDUBB16.
Perfect. Thank you, Maya, for being our one of our judges this year for the Gaily Show Awards.
Such an honor, such a privilege. Thank you, JP.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for listening and attending the Gaily Show Awards. You can find all of the awards episodes on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@thegailyshow. Obviously, you can find them everywhere you get your podcast. Just search for the Gaily Show, rather. And you can also stream them at am950radio.com. Also, as a reminder, tune in starting Monday, January 6th. The Gaily Show expands to its new 1-hour format, being one of the only daily LGBTQ progressive news and talk shows in the country. Until then, see you queers and allies in the bookstores.